All steps scientists and
Let's go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the end of September. Now, I know we missed a show last week, which always kind of puts a little skip in there, but literally it's the end of September. Now I really do have to start working on Halloween stuff for my family because holy crap. And start Christmas shopping because Christmas is 2 weeks away. And we're going to get it, if I can keep my brain straight, you guys got to bear with me. I have a whole lot of shit I want to talk about tonight, and I'm going to try and keep it coherent. I'm going to try and segue through this as neatly as I can because we're going to talk a little bit about time. If I can make it coherent, because I have some theoretical shit going on in my head, and I'm going to try and draw diagrams for you. I don't know how well that's going to work. We're going to start off. I'm going to take you on a little trip through our geomagnetics again. We haven't talked about the geomagnetics really in a while because, like I've said, you get to the point where you say, look, craziness is happening, and you don't have any explanations, and how many times can you go, look, it's fucking insane. But today, or I should say yesterday, we saw something that was epically insane, the likes of which I've never seen before. And we saw I'm going to show you a strange pattern shift that happened at the beginning of September. And because I've been so blindsidedly busy this month, I have not been following the geomagnetics at all. So when I went back and started backtracking over the last few weeks, some very interesting pieces. So I'm going to take you on the screen share. Let's see. We want to start here. Hold on. Screen share. Let's see if it's going to open up the right screen. No, of course not. There we go. Okay. I got to close the guys. I've got to close the chat so I can see my screen properly. Okay. Yesterday, September 24th, at approximately 2:20 in the morning, there was a geomagnetic event, the likes of which I have never seen. And if you're watching this kind of stuff, everyone lost their shit about it today and yesterday, going, what the fuck was that? Because there's no mainstream scientific logical explanation for what we saw. And we have people, you got your suspicious observer who Ben will go out and say that, oh, well, these feeds, they don't really show and blah, blah, blah. And they're just like computer generated images. Yes, of course, they're obviously computer generated images. But, and I'm going to point this out again. For the computer to generate images, it uses algorithms. And those algorithms have to be set in place. I.e., if A plus B plus C equals D. It's the way it is. The computers cannot just randomly generate weird-ass graphics for no reason. And specifically, they can't just randomly generate graphics that are shown across multiple feeds. So, we can say, no, and I'll show you later, this is not a solar wind stream. Although after this event, the solar wind stream did start skyrocketing for no apparent reason that we can find out. No apparent reason at all. Solar wind stream is screaming up. We see an event. So we're going to start. I'm going to show you the magnetopause. And I'm going to back it off here so you guys know. Just to give brief explanation for those who are just joining in who don't know what the hell I'm talking about. This is the magnetopause position. So this little circle here that's half white and half black represents Earth. Okay, the white side being the daylight side, the black side being the nighttime side of Earth. The sun is over here facing the light side, obviously, and this is our magnetopause. The magnetopause is like the magnetic field the magnetic shield, if you will, that protects Earth. And we can watch the magnetopause and how it reacts to incoming cosmic rays, solar wind streams, if there's been CMEs that have gone off, coronal mass ejections from the sun. You can watch how the magnetopause moves as those energies are hitting it. What we saw last night, or sorry, 2 nights ago at 2 o'clock in the morning was I've never seen before. So I'm going to skip through. We're starting here on the 23rd at 1600. We're going to skip right through. You can see we've already got a lot of energetic stuff going on. Okay, we can see there's blasts that are coming in. There we are. We can see them coming in. This is the sunward side. So we already know there was a lot of shit going on. But this has been non-stop now for 2 months. Okay, now we're going to get you to up here, wind it over to 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so I'm going to back it up. This is the distortion that's happening. When we see the magnetopause distorting like this, as in it's not a nice smooth arc, and it starts crunching in at the top or the bottom, this is an indicator of the energies, the forces that are coming up against it. Okay? We've seen this before. We've seen this before many times. I'm just going to click through and we can see we're at 1:28 now in the morning, and we're seeing the distortion happening. We're being pushed up from the bottom. It's being crunched in from here. Now, I got it fastest, 2:10. It's starting to build here. I want you to show here. So we've got the hot spot on the back. Now, if you look here, the lighter blue colors, you can already see it's like a bubble is forming. It's being pushed out in front of Earth into the magnetopause towards the sun. And I'm going to get you to watch this. I'm going to click through them slowly. Again, you can see this bubble is forming right here, and you're starting to see a distortion line right here at the front. And it pushes, and then all of a sudden it hits here. And it does this. It blows right through magnetopause. This bubble comes, so again, this is coming from the Earth facing towards the sun. This is almost like a blowback from the Earth's magnetic sphere out towards the sun. And it completely distorts the magnetopause right off the charts. Boom. Separates it, blows it right open, and you can see, look at the direction. We can see this massive flow coming out. To the point of, the magnetopause isn't even there at the top. That's how far open it blows it open. And then by about 3:14, it starts coming back in again. And this lovely stormy weather goes on, not with a repeat like that, but you can see the hits keep coming. So I'm going to show you this. Okay, so this is the magnetosphere. And again, I'll give a brief explanation for those who aren't sure. Again, the black circle shows the space around Earth. The small circle in the center, the white side, is sun facing. The black part is nighttime side. Okay, again, the red lines are our closed magnetic field lines. The black lines are the polar cap magnetic field lines, and the blue lines are the interplanetary field lines, magnetic field lines. Okay, I'm going to fast forward, and you can see as I'm going to quickly go through, you can see the blasts are just coming in. All day long, all evening long, blasts are coming in, boom, 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 boom. Everything's holding relatively stable, though, until we get to about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to take you through image by image. You can watch here the red as we get to 2:50. We have a connection here. We have the polar cap lines do a mad spiral knot work, which is not unusual. We have seen that in the past. What we don't see is this. Do you see the finger? I'll back it up a little bit here. You can watch the outer closed magnetic line is reaching out. it's already pushing and bowing against the magnetopause. And it reaches out and it literally pushes like this. In over 10 years of watching these feeds, I have never seen anything like this before. Never. Okay? It pushes out. You can see the massive blast. We can see everything's all bent. We can see the actual distortion lines. And the next wave comes in. And you can see it's a massive blast. Whatever that bounced back, it was a huge reaction back. And this continues, and I'll keep sliding it right through. Again, we see these blasts continue until 9:46 in the morning. The feeds went down yesterday at 9:46 in the morning. They have not come back. They have not come back to this moment. I checked 10 minutes before I sat down in the chair tonight to see if there's any chance that they've come back yet. There's been no live feeds, so we don't know what's going on. Here's the interesting piece. This is the magnetosphere. So again, it's another format of looking at this. The reason we look at the magnetosphere is because we have directional arrows show us the directions that the various wind speeds, these waves are coming in at. But we have this. We have right here, this number at the top where it says 445 is telling us the solar wind speeds. Now I'm going to pull this back again, and you're going to see as we go through the day, we are 300, goes up to 400, hits 500 a couple of times, a couple of good blasts there, but it never really gets above 500 until we get to 1 o'clock in the morning. It starts going up, and you can see the big blasts coming in, and it starts rising. 5, 7, 800 as the one blast goes by. Now we get to 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to again take you through step by step. Okay? Watch as we get to, come on, 218. We'll go up to 974 kilometers per second. And you're starting to see the distortion right here. You can really see the distortion on this image in the magnetopause and the magnetosphere. Okay? Goes up to 1,192 kilometers per second. That's what's incoming. 1,300, 1,500 kilometers per second. Okay? And then it starts to fade back down again. And you can see again, the blasts keep coming, but they never quite escalate up again. So, when we look at this and we go, oh, hold on, I need to get back to the home page. Okay. We had, I'll show you quick. There was no geomagnetic storm at that time. We had just come out of a 0 kp. There was a slight elevation to a 3. A slight elevation to a 3. kp3. But there was no geomagnetic storm at that time. Now, the interesting part is there's an announcement talking about this coronal hole, which is a pretty good size one for considering that we're in the solar minimum right now. This coronal hole will soon be Earth facing. And soon, i.e. this coming weekend, we should start to see some high-speed solar wind streaming past Earth from this coronal hole. But there is nothing else on the solar disk. There's been no eruptions, there's been no solar flares, there's been no filaments ripping off. There is nothing to have caused that sudden uptick that we just saw. Now, what's interesting is I'm going to show you this. Let's put these guys away for a moment. Put you over here and grab you, put you over here, and we're going to grab you and put you over here. Here's where we get interesting stuff. So first one I'm going to pull up is, now actually we'll come back to that one in just a second. So we're going to look at the solar wind velocity. Okay, now I'm going to click the update button here just so we can get it right to, what time is it now? We'll call it 2300. It's not 2300, but we'll call it that. Okay, we saw a huge spike in solar wind speeds yesterday into today. But the spikes are only like 400 or 500 kilometers per second that they're showing on this graph. They started at around 9 o'clock in the morning at exactly the same time when all these graphs here went dead. All the live feeds all shut off. Now, apparently in September, they've been shutting down a lot. And I'm not surprised with some of the stuff that we see. See the magnetic field? Again, this is when the event took place. Here, you don't really see anything. Magnetically, it's not showing any much of a disturbance. But here, after the live feeds go down and we can't see what's happening, all of a sudden there's a massive magnetic disturbance. Okay? Density. We had a density spike that happened. There's the 23rd, but look, there's no density spike showing. None whatsoever. Now, we have one around noon that day. We had one just this afternoon, another massive density spike, but we can't look at it because the live feeds are down. Here's the interesting one. This is the X-ray flux from the GOES satellites, 15 and 16. No, 14 and 15, sorry. This, I pulled it up this morning and went, what the fuck is that? Regular pattern. Look at it. Regular pattern. It's like a drum beat. Like if you didn't know any better, you were thinking you were looking at some kind of a percussion instrument or heartbeat. I've never seen anything like this before. So I went to the GOES historical. Okay, and I pulled this up. So this is just to give you an idea of how unusual this is. This is the GOES X-ray flux, the same one we were just looking at, stretched out from August 1st to September 25th. You can see August, pretty much flatlined. The X-ray is where we see the solar flares. When you hear me talk about a C-class flare, an M-class flare, that is what these measurements here are. You can see A, B, C, M, and X. This would be the measurement. So if you had a spike that went up to an M here, then you would say, oh, we just had an M-class flare of 4.9, 5.9, etc. It's been flatlined because we haven't had a solar flare in months. And all of a sudden, September 1st, we get this pattern. Boom, 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 boom. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? So I went and did a 1-year plot. Oh, sorry, this is the January. Sorry, this is January 2019 through to September 20th. And we'll even change it. We'll take it to September 25th. Okay, and show the plot. So we can see in the early part of the year, we had lots of geomagnetic strangeness going on, and we had some C-class flares. So you're seeing there's the C-class flares there. There's the big one that happened that was almost an M-class, almost. But then you can see from mid-May onwards, it has been literally almost flatlined until we have this delightful pattern of what the fuck is that? Now, just to give you an example, I'm going to go change this and go to, no, not 2017, sorry, 2018, and we'll say August 2018, we'll say August 1st, 2018 to, I don't know, we'll say October 2018. Okay, so I want to show you this mess. This is what we're usually seeing here. This is the kind of stuff that we saw last year because we had little bits of solar flares, etc., etc. But this is crazy, crazy stuff. Now, when I looked at the rest of the data for that time period, again, we can see nothing on the charts that show anything that happened at that 2 o'clock in the morning timestamp. Where's the other one? In the corona. Now, where am I? We're on the 25th. This is the corona ryometers. Come on. Go, go, go. Get the days of the graphs. Can we go? There we go. We also have some strange stuff that we're seeing in the ryometers. And it all started in August. Prior to this, in August, if we could say go back to July. Come on. Okay, for some reason it's decided it's not going to help me. 2019. Here we go. Let's go July. Get days of graphs. Okay. This is what we're used to seeing on the ryometers. These kind of up and down patterns like this, and this is measuring various radio frequencies that are coming through the atmosphere. This is what we normally see. But when we got to, let's say, what was it, around the 7th? I can't remember the exact date. We started getting into these real rhythmic patterns. And the same thing when you jump to September now, September 25th. This is what we're getting. It's like a tabletop pattern, and they're dropping off the bottom of the scale. And we go back, and it's days and days. Oh, here, I'll show you this, though. That little spike right here, which was yesterday, is exactly when all the other live feeds went down. Right there. It's when the live feeds went down. So what's that? What does this represent? No fucking clue. Now, with all the rest of this stuff that's going on, okay, the earthquakes. Yeah, come on, latest earthquakes, please. Thank you. Magnitude 5.0 and greater. We've had some crazy earthquake activity in the last week. Crazy, crazy, crazy. This is only 5.0 and higher. And we know that whenever the magnetics get really, really crazy, we do tend to see this kind of physical stuff that comes out. How the reactions, if you will, volcanoes and earthquakes, etc. So there's been a couple of very interesting articles, and we'll get into this more as we get into the discussion. And I've been talking about this for the last year. We've seen some very, very, very interesting articles continuously coming out about space, about physics, about quantum physics. There's been a lot of stuff flooding out right now that when you start looking at it, you start questioning a lot of stuff that's going on. One of the articles, and this is, I highly recommend you actually go to this guy's website. Come on, guys. There we go. The guy, his name is Jamal Scherer, and he's got a website. I will post the link. It's at the bottom here. We don't want to look at belly fat, please. Thank you. His website. I did find his website. I have it pulled up. I will post. There it is. The Helical Universe. His website is www.helical-universe.info. Got some really, really interesting stuff. And he's talking about the solar system is approaching the closest position to the galactic core, energetic region altering magnetic fields of the sun and all planets. Now, this guy's stuff, I'm actually going to try and get my hands on one of his books. Because some of the stuff this guy's talking about is all what we've been talking about, the magnetic connectivity and the electrical connectivity of all the planets, all the stars across not just our solar system, but the entire galactic plane. And he's talking about, he says, our biggest tragedy is the misunderstanding of our own star. This misunderstanding is due to the fundamental defects in the current laws of physics. These defects, however, can never be realized without the realization of the true building blocks of matter. Now, this guy gets into some pretty hardcore physics when he starts talking about matter and energy and how the universe works. He's talking about, he says, the true motion of the sun in the galaxy is not a circular motion, but exactly like the motion of an electron in an atom. and all indications seem to suggest that the solar system is approaching the highest position in the galaxy, the closest possible position to the galactic core. It is the most energetic region that the sun can be surrounded with. This dense region is altering magnetic fields of the sun and the magnetic fields of all the planets in our solar system. And we've had multiple articles coming out how there's like climate change on Mars and Saturn and Jupiter and all these new things that are showing up that they've never seen before. Valid and clear observations are showing that Earth is not the only planet in the solar system undergoing climate change. Growth of the dark spots in Pluto, reported auroras on Saturn, polar shifts in Uranus, and changes in light intensity of Neptune suggest the changes are happening in the entire solar system. Hence the fact it's not CO2, man-made climate change, because I'm pretty sure Pluto doesn't have a problem with CO2 and cars. We're trying to get through here. Give me a second. Here's one piece I wanted to read you guys. Okay, so this is one of the ones. It says, another piece of evidence in favor of solar change is the sudden rise in galactic stardust. Ulysses space probe has been monitoring the amount of stardust flowing through our solar system since 1992. The sun's magnetic field impacts how much stardust drifts through the solar system. The magnetic field attracts more stardust as it gets stronger, as it strengthens. The solar system is experiencing an overflow of stardust as the sun's magnetic field grows in strength and it's attracting more dust. He goes on to talk, and I went through his site, and I went through several pieces of his site, that the galactic center, that, as we've talked about, crossing the galactic plane, is the most dense region of space with the most stardust, matter, energy. The most in the entire galaxy is right here, and we're passing through it right now. This is that guy, and I can never remember his name, the Russian scientist that I talk about, who put out all the studies and articles in the 90s, warning that in this time period we were going to be crossing the galactic plane, and that we just really don't know how the planet is going to react going to being bombarded with all these cosmic rays, radiation, UV, as we're seeing these massive outbursts from our own sun. So it's very, very interesting that here's another guy talking about, and he talks about basically that black holes are not black holes per se, of what, i.e. Mainstream physics talks about, is that they are magnetic. They are literally a magnetic event taking place. There's so much shit going on. I'm going to stop the share for right now. There's so much shit going on that we're seeing. And I keep talking about the fact that it is obvious that we don't have the tools, or at least they are not giving us the tools or allowing us to see the tools if they have them. Measuring what is actually incoming. When we see an event like what happened last night at 2 o'clock in the morning, something that I've never seen before, there has to be a cause. And like I said, it's not a computer glitch. I don't buy that shit. These are algorithms that they're running. The data has to be incoming, and it creates a graphic from the data it is receiving. What's taking place? We can see the changes. We can see the changes of all these different things going on. Now, here's one of my questions is, 23rd, what was it, that the day of or the day after the equinox? Did that play a part? Was that one of the trigger events? Was the equinox? We don't know. Now, astrologically speaking, I've been chatting with Amina and Jules and Megan, and they're just going off about all this kind of planetary stuff. And we are going to get the next astrology show on really, really soon. I promise. We're really trying to get it put together. Okay? We have so much shit that is bombarding our planet right now. that we cannot, given the information we have, it's like we cannot comprehend where all this energy, or what exactly all this energy is. And like I said, I don't think we have the right the right yardstick, the right measuring sticks anymore. Or at least they're not letting us play with the right measuring sticks. Shit is getting fucking weird. And I'm so tired right now, I don't even know if I can get into the whole time factor. Nick and I had a huge conversation this morning. And one of the things that we brought up was this whole concept of crossing the galactic plane. And if we're crossing this galactic plane and we're seeing all these different energies, cosmic rays, dust, matter of God knows what, and the interactions between our sun and the planets and this central sun. Oh, that's the other article I had to show you. Haha, that's the important one. Hold on, give me a second. I'm going to show you this again. Maybe. Come on, Zoom. Don't fail me now. Come on. Ah, shit. This is a really interesting article. This is the other article I want to share with you. The supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, Sagittarius A, which is, as we call it, our galactic central sun, if you will, just got extremely hungry. Scientists believe there's a supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy named Sagittarius A. This black hole is 26,000 light years from Earth. Keep that in mind, 26,000 light years. The observation comes from a research team at UCLA, blah, 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 blah. The accretion disk is where enormous amounts of gas, dust, and radiation accumulate and orbit outside the point of no return, or the event horizon. According to their observations, there has been a sudden and unprecedented increase in the brightness from Sagittarius A accretion disk. And it basically goes on, the paper's co-author says, we have never seen anything like this in the 24 years that we have studied the supermassive black hole. It's usually pretty quiet, wimpy black hole on a diet, and we don't know what is driving this big feast. So scientists say that the increase in brightness means the black hole is consuming more interstellar material, including stars, planets, dust, gas, and asteroids. One of the research team's lead authors originally believed the glow was a star because a Sagittarius A had never been observed at this level of brightness before. They actually thought it was a star. It was that bright. Supermassive black holes and event horizons and galactic center points and crossing the galactic plane. And when we're talking about this stuff, you get into the real woo-woo, but you also get into a lot of really, really interesting science. And one of the pieces that I've been talking about is time. Time is speeding up. Time is continuously speeding up. And I found it very, very interesting that Sagittarius A is 26,000 light years from us. And what's that measurement that the Mayans talk about? That age is 26,000 years, right? 26,000 years. That's what they always talk about. And I sat here and was like, and went, going, wait. So, and I'll put this out there if anyone wants to see if they can come up with an answer on this one, because I'm fucked if I can come up with an answer on it. The light from Sagittarius A is 26,000 light years away. Therefore, it takes light 26,000 years to reach us from Sagittarius A. So the event that they saw, i.e. Sagittarius A gobbling up all this stuff, is not taking place now. It's taking place 26,000 years ago. But if we're in this cycle, so again, I'm going to say my head is the central sun, and this is the galactic plane, and we're currently doing this passage, and we're passing through the galactic plane 26,000 years ago. If that's the light they're seeing, is that the last point? What the sun was doing, what that central sun was doing 26,000 years ago, i.e. the last time we were in this exact same position? Yeah, that's right. And the yugas are also 26,000 years as well. So when I saw the number, I was like, oh, isn't that, coincidentally the same time span, right? One of the other things that's just been discovered, if you will, is of course gravitational waves. And when we talk about all these different kinds of waves, we talk about the bending of time and space. Time and space can be bent. And one of the things that I was looking at is, for example, a sine wave, right? So if you've got your baseline is here, and you have a long sine wave that's just going very long and slow like this, to travel from A to B is still the same distance. But if you've got a sine wave and it's doing this, even though it's traveling still the same distance between point A and point B, if it's traveling like this, it's going a lot more distance. That actual point is traveling much larger distances than, for example, one that's doing this. And I'm beginning to wonder now if we're looking at what we're perceived as time, what we're perceiving as time, as we're passing through this incredibly dense area of space. Is that the cause of what we perceive as time speeding up so fast? Because literally I'm to the point now, if I was to give it a time, I'd have to say, and being really conservative, it's as if every day has only 18 hours in it now, and that would be conservative, conservatively speaking. I know a lot of people I've talked to have said that they honestly think the day only contains about 15 hours now, as time is being compressed. This is the kind of shit that's been going on in my fucking head all day today, trying to look at this. And that's it, Linda, exactly. September is fucking over. I don't even know where summer went to. I literally, did summer even happen? It went that fast. Time now is going so fast that if you sit down to do a job that, let's say it's the same kind of a job that you used to do in 2010, I can look back at 2010 and say, in the course of a day, I could do at least 3 times as much work during the course of a day in 2010 that I can do now. Like, when I literally think about what my day consisted of, I had 4 little kids home, all being homeschooled. Get up in the morning and you had breakfast and you do some stuff, and I'd get online and at that time I was monitoring a bunch of forums. I'd do kind of that, and you'd do your chores and you'd get laundry done, and then in the afternoon you'd do some more stuff with the kids, and then you'd do some more stuff with the moderating of the boards, and then you think about, oh, okay, well, we'll clean up the kitchen, okay, and then we're going to cook dinner. And after dinner you always had time to sit down and watch a TV show or two. And then the kids were in bed, and maybe you'd watch a couple episodes of something else, and you'd kick back and you'd relax. And you can't do that anymore. It is not physically possible to fit the amount of shit that we did in 2010 and previous to our day now. It's not physically possible to get all those things done. So as we're traveling through this galactic plane, above and beyond the obvious geomagnetic stuff, the obvious energetic shit that we are feeling, that we're being bombarded with? Are we also looking at this compression of perceived linear time, a compression of how many hours are in a day? And I brought this up a few years ago, and I can remember someone saying, oh, well, time isn't changing because we have nuclear clocks, and the nuclear clocks would tell us if the time was changing. And I'm like, duh, no. No, because if it's talking about time as it's perceived being compressed, those nuclear clocks and how they measure time would also be compressed as well. You can't make that analogy.
Yeah, you can only feel that difference, because time is still the same. It is literally, I mean, otherwise your clocks would go wrong on your wrist and shit like that.
Exactly.
But
Well, listen, sorry, go ahead, hon.
It is literally this weird phenomenon that, yeah, everything literally stays the same, but you cannot measure it or anything, but you can only feel it. You can only, since you're the observer, right? You observe your life, you observe everything else.
But it's interesting, because this is what I was just going to say. I've had several messages. So I had one message from a friend of mine saying she was playing a game with her kids. So when we were kids, how did we count seconds? 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000. Or in America, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. You learned you knew how long a second was. And his friend was talking about the fact she was watching the second hand go, and she couldn't say the words fast enough. Between each second. It was impossible. She said physically impossible for her to actually say 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. By the time she'd said 2 Mississippi, it was already at 4 Mississippi.
Our internal clocks are different from the clocks that we have on the wall. So our internal clocks say one thing, but the external clocks say another thing.
And we've talked about that, right? Like the whole thing of like when you sit there and you go, the clock says it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I should be tired and in bed, but I'm wide awake still because it feels like it's 10 o'clock. Or vice versa, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you haven't eaten anything yet because you're just not hungry yet. Now here's another question. If we're talking about this compression of time, one of the things a lot of us has talked about is this continuous feeling of being exhausted. Well, what if some of the reasons that we're exhausted is the fact that instead of getting our 8 hours sleep, maybe that 8 hours sleep is only really 5 hours now. But we've been running on 5 hours sleep for months and months and months.
For me, when I sleep, I only can sleep maybe 3-4 hours at a time now. And, and that's just weird for me. I mean, I should be able to sleep the whole night, non-interrupted. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Well, besides my bladder going crazy and just saying, oh, well, it's time for you to get up and do whatever you gotta do. Yeah, but it's weird.
What were you saying, JC?
I've also noticed that, I go outside to smoke, and at night I'll go out and it feels like 2 in the morning, 2, 3 in the morning. I go back inside and it's only 9. I mean, it's like bizarre. And I had a really weird thing happen today. I posted it in UU, but the days have literally flipped. Yep. And I have proof. It's not like, ooh, wow. But I'm feeding Benny wet cat food, right? And this morning, his food lasts for 2 days. It's the small cans. And it gets divided, and he can have it for 2 days. Well, yesterday should have been the end of his beef. Okay. And I was very careful because beef is very hard to digest. So I wanted to make sure, because he's so young, that he can digest it okay. Anyway, first day was great. Yep, he did great. Okay. Now I've only had him for 4 days. Okay. And 5 nights. So the first 2 days he had fish. Second 2 days he had beef. He was supposed to have salmon today. Okay. I already knew. I don't want to just feed him all the same, because
Yeah.
I want to get his digestion ready, Anyway, so, oh my God, I was like, I looked at the can today and it's the fucking salmon I should have opened today for him, right?
And it's already open.
Oh yeah, it was gone. Yeah. So I'm like, no, the last 2 days beef. I know, because I've been freaking cleaning them. Oh my God, that's nasty how he gets it everywhere. But and the beef is very hard to get out of his coat, that gravy. Anyway, so I'm like, what the fuck? The salmon is already open. He's already eaten it. The beef can was in the trash. Now, mind you, every 2 days, these last every 2 days. So, and I've only had them 4 days. So it's not like I can really just, now if he was a month old, I would have just said, oh my God, I just confused everything. And so they have literally flipped the fuck around, or the future already came in, and yeah, it was something warped.
It's when we talk about what the fuck effects, Mandela effects. There's been a lot of them this week. Again, people have been saying to me like they've had all kinds of weird fucking shit happen in their house to them. People not sleeping. I was literally on Monday. Pardon me. I was so sideways Monday that I didn't know if I was coming or going. Literally all day. Now, and grant, I'd been at the festival all weekend, but yes, I'd been at the festival all weekend, but it hadn't been that overexerting. Yeah, I was going to bed at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, but I was sleeping until 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. It's not like I was going on 4 hours sleep. It's not that kind of a exhaustion. I was completely sideways on Monday. And I talked to several people who were the same thing on the Unfuckers group. They've been talking about for the last 3, 4 days. A lot of people have been feeling this incredible wooziness and exhaustion and feeling sick, kind of almost motion sickness type feeling, and the headaches, etc. We talk about this all the time. And when I look at all this information like that we're being bombarded with, and we look at what's going on geomagnetically, but then we look at everything else that's going on around us, it's epic insanity. It's insanity. Hold on a second. Gabby64, yeah, I had a friend of mine whose clock radio went off in the middle of the day for no apparent reason. Like no reason at all, and said scared her cat so bad that she had to almost pull the cat off the ceiling because the cat was sleeping on the couch next to the clock radio, and all of a sudden the clock radio just went ba-ba, like the alarm aspect of it, just boom. And she never uses that clock, never uses the clock radio ever. But somehow it set itself and just went off in the middle of the day. I haven't seen the new X-Files yet. I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it yet. And this is it. When we look at this, we're going like, this summer has flown by. Insanely flown by. And it's one thing, we all know when there's an event coming up, time either goes really fast or it goes really, really slow. If you're a kid and you're waiting for Christmas Day, it takes so long for Christmas Day to happen. But this summer has gone by, and it has been bizarre how little I've accomplished this summer. Little as a family, how little things that we just didn't get done. Going to the beach, hardly went to the beach at all this summer. We live 2 minutes from the beach, hardly went to the beach. And 90% of the time, yes, there was the aspect of the ultraviolet was so extreme this summer that it literally felt poisonous on your skin to have the sun on you. But the other part of it is that literally every single day was a race. Where all of a sudden I look up at my clock and go, it's 5:30 at night. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock, and I haven't done dinner. I haven't even prepared. I haven't even thought about it yet. And the kids are like, we'd like to go swimming. I'm like, we can't go swimming because we still have to have dinner, and Mommy hasn't even got that done. And by the time we get all that done, it's dark. Joanna just said a 15-year-old Bose wave radio began blaring the last CD left in it 2 days ago. In excess CD, so it was cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
I had that with a speaker that I had. For some reason, yesterday morning, it started making a staticky weird noise, as if some weird kind of transmission was trying to get through. But
it was it on the 20th? You know, were the aliens calling from help from Area 51?
I don't know. But like the week last, we're on our way back home from an appointment that I had. And so we're turning a corner, and this building that we go by, you know, usually to get back home, it now has siding on it. Like, it didn't have siding there before. Or at least I think it had a different color siding. And all of a sudden, that changed. Oh, and
this is the kind of shit we're talking about.
My cousin's wife, listen to this. My cousin's wife, she works at the hospital. She calls my mother, says, oh, I talked to Earl today at the hospital. My mom's like, Earl's not at the hospital. He's right here. He's out in his room on his computer. Well, we all think she's crazy anyway, but
no. Do you want to hear another one like that?
Yes.
This was, and Anne's not here to verify this with me, so I can't remember if she posted this publicly or not. So I won't put names because I can't remember if Anne told me the story or if she publicly said the story. One of the unfuckers gets told by her neighbor, we just found your cat dead in our backyard. So she's overwrought. Oh my God. They go over, they pick up the cat, and sure enough, there's a dead cat. It's her cat. It's dead in the backyard. She calls her husband. They take him into the yard, and they basically dig a hole, and they bury the cat. And walk into the house and found their cat sitting in the house.
Now,
Gail and I were of the opinion that if it was us, we'd have been out in that backyard digging up that fucking hole just to verify that there was a cat's body in that hole.
Right.
And like, you know. Guys, my Zoom's going all twitchy again. So, John, I hope, is the live stream holding? Because if it's really bad again, I may have to steal the live stream recording of this. Because my Zoom is doing its Twitch freeze, and that's what happened the last time when I lost everything.
You're not frozen. You're moving.
But on my side, it's my Zoom. It's not the actual internet. It's actually my Zoom.
Okay, there's an update.
I've already done the update. It's got worse since the update.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, that's why I said, Julianne, I was like, if it was my cat, I'd have been back in there digging up that dead cat from the backyard to verify that it was my cat. But I mean, that's great. But this is the kind of shit we're talking about. And I'm hearing a ton of those kinds of things. Whereas another girlfriend of mine literally sat there and was like, ran into a friend at a store, someone who lives local. And the friend mentions and says, oh, I haven't seen you since you were at the barbecue last week. And she was like, what barbecue? Yeah, you know, so-and-so's barbecue. And she was like, I wasn't at so-and-so's barbecue. She says, yes, you were. I talked to you. We talked about this, and this. And she was like, Danny, I wasn't at that barbecue. And he's not a drinker. She says, like, he's not a drinker. He's not someone who does drugs. But, so I'm hearing a lot of these. So Sonia, yeah, exactly. I've been hearing a lot of these kinds of things just recently. In the last couple of weeks, people are having these kind of weird echoes within the matrix of like timelines are flicking in, and I don't know.
Hey, Danny, I've noticed that too. It is like this influx, this fluctuation continually. And I think we talked, it was similar to like in 2016, 2017, kind of did the same thing. It was this constant influx but I noticed something yesterday too. My thoughts and my thought process do not flow anymore. I will think of something, and you know how you go into the next thought or the sequence.
It doesn't segue?
No, it does not. It's just
it's
boom,
like a chunk.
Boom, boom. It's digital. Swear to God, that is exactly how digital is. So it's so digital-like.
That's kind of interesting, because I've kind of noted in myself that you jump from thought to thought, and if you try to, when you try and backtrack, like all of a sudden you have like, we all do it. You're off and staring off into space, and 30 seconds later you're thinking about, I don't know, lasagna you had last week, and then you try to realize how you went from doing this, thinking about this, to thinking about this in 30 seconds, and try and track the train of thought that led you from here to here.
Yeah.
And you can't.
Nope.
And you just can't. It's like, it's as if thought is almost like you're receiving bursts. But okay, so let's look at the aspect of what we're talking about with time. If time is speeding up, and obviously it is, are we receiving the information, like, is our brain processing information differently to make up for that? I.e., cutting out the middleman stuff and literally just jumping from thought to thought to thought and taking out. It's kind of like when a teacher used to give you a math problem and they'd want you to write down how you solved the problem, and sometimes you didn't need to, you just knew what the answer was, and you could just go. And it's like your brain is not doing the work. It's not showing its work. Is that what we're seeing? The brain just is not showing its work on the math exam. So you're being able to jump from one thought to the next thought without actually segueing all the in-between little bits and pieces that take you there?
Well, it doesn't seem like it's just the thoughts that are jumping. It's like, it feels like it's entire timelines that are jumping. Because like I'm the last person that will tell you that something anomalous happened to me. Like, I don't see it. I've never seen a ghost. I don't get sleep paralysis. Like, nothing physically anomalous happens to me. And it's kind of like a joke in my mind, because I'm just like, anyway. But for the first time, I had an experience like a while ago, and this was with my super religious like parents. So like full, witnesses in the room. Like, I was screening material, with my dad, and we have X-Acto knives, obviously, and so I'm cutting off part of the screen material, and it slips and it slices my thumb open. Like, I see the red, I see the cut in the red, and my dad saw it too, and he was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's nothing," just wanting to like downplay it. And then I figure, since we're replacing these new screens, I should probably get a Band-Aid and not get blood all over it. So I'm like, okay. So I go to look at my thumb, and there's nothing. Like, like it really was nothing. Like there's nothing. Like I look at my other thumb, fully knowing it wasn't that thumb, just to like be sure.
Just to verify. Did I get confused?
Yeah, and like there's not. I'm like, did you? And I even asked like, did you see that? Like you saw me cut my thumb, right? And like, yeah. I'm like, there's nothing. There's nothing here. Like not even a line. Like.
So what did your dad say?
Just kind of one of those does not compute moments. Like, oh well, that's strange, and then like goes on. And,
yeah.
Well, what's really odd is that when we shift into these timelines, and it is clearly the multiverse, the multiverse happening right now. It is bizarre, but it's clear that when we shift, yes, we have the residual, but as soon as you think of the new, it's almost like the residual starts disintegrating.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and we catch into the new.
Okay, so I'm going to segue from what you just said into what Gabby just said on Twitch. Gabby just said, what are you all experiencing about manifesting things? With me, whatever I think, I receive more and more each day. And that's exact what JC just said and what Gabby just said. It feels like that. It's like I said, if I have manifested so many things in the last couple of months, it's ridiculous. And it's always little things like walking into a shop, my favorite op shop, and finding exactly the fabric I need for a project I'm working on, or finding exactly buttons that I need, or I'm looking for something. I need something for the office, and I did it just a few last month. I needed like the filofaxes.
It's like that with my TV. I was sitting there, like, I've been thinking about this for days. Like, I need a new TV because my older TV was where I had 2 HDMI ports, and I got 3 things. But in order for me to watch one other thing, I would have to unplug one of the plugs to plug into, the back of the TV or vice versa. So I'm like, okay, I need a TV with at least 3 HDMI ports. So my birthday comes around, thinking I wanted for my birthday. But I was like, okay, I got my money for my birthday, on my $84, whatever, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll go, pay down more on my TV, make it less of the time that I need to, right? So I look on the website in Temperments, and there's a TV on sale that's usually like $500 and something, $599, and now $399. I'm looking, I'm like, and it's a 4K TV because I've been wanting a 4K TV for a while. And so I'm like, okay. So I show my mom. My mom's like, okay, I'll go look. And talk to them, that. So I get my money back. I get my TV. Now my sister's taking over the last $200 to pay off on the older TV, and I'm getting a TV that I pay $30 a month to pay off. But it's only going to take me 3 years. And my mom's like, well, it's going to take 3 years to pay off. And with the way time's going, I'm like, hey, you know what? Fine. Because of this, yeah. So, and then my mother and sister, they work out because we need to get better internet packages, a better internet package, So they're going through, and they come up with this number of what it should be for them. After they got off the phone, they got the exact number of what they're paying for, down to the last number. It's crazy, Danny.
Oh, I know, and this is what I'm saying. Like I find all the time that I say things happen. You have a
Well,
thought, a random thought. You just have like a random thought in your head. A random thought pops into your head. Like, for example, I was sitting here on my chair, and I always sit with my legs up, as you guys know. And I look down at my toenails, and I'm like, well, it's the end of September. Maybe it's time to cut the toenails back. It's going to be time to be putting on like closed-toed shoes soon. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. That was this morning. Go out, grab some groceries, and as I'm walking in my flip-flops, I kick the wheel of the cart, and good and hard, and catch it right on one of my toenails. And I look down and go, oh, that really hurts. Oh, that may be really not good. And I look down, and my toenail polish is completely shattered and cracked right through the middle of the toe. And I say to Nick, oh, I think I just literally bent my entire toenail right back to the middle of the toe. And I get home, and you sit there, and I'm just like, no, I'm not. I can't deal with this right now. Can't deal with this. Can't deal with this. Can't deal with this. I get home, cut the toenail, and only the top layer cracked back. The rest of the toenail was absolutely fine. And I was like, okay, like, did I just kind of like put the brakes on it? Like, you see it. It was broken. It was all shattered. It's like, no, can't do that. No. And then it wasn't there. Like, it literally just was just the top layer, and that's it. These things, and so, okay. We are having examples continuously put to us of, we have the ability, and I hate using the word manifest. It's become a real dirty word in my vocabulary. We have an ability to create whatever it is that we're looking for, and we see it in the little things. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. While I watch an old movie, and I go to 9gag, and immediately there'll be a meme based on that old movie, to the point that Nick and I were laughing our asses off for a week. It was continuous for a week. Didn't matter what movie we watched. It didn't matter how old it was. You turn on 9gag, and there would be a meme about that fucking show or that movie. We are creating this pieces. But we're all creating within our little bubbles. We're all creating in our personal sphere of reality, if you will. I.e., it's like I said, I needed some white eyelet for a project I was working on. I walked into my favorite little op shop, and it was an entire white cotton eyelet bedding set. And my little old guy sold it to me for €2 for the entire bedding set. More white eyelet than I could possibly even use for the entire project. Yet, there it was. Boom. In the greater scheme of stuff, though, when we talk about the greater scheme of things, the shit that's playing out around us, politically, financially, socially, geophysically, if you will, is so epically crazy insane. I'm questioning. How do I segue into this? We have the random thoughts. Okay, I'm not, guys, I'm sorry. I'm really trying to put this into terms to make it, get this idea across. We talked about the fact that you have these random thoughts, and they come in as a burst. And you get a thought as a burst. And in that thought, there's not just information. There is like physical information, i.e. the sky is blue. There's also intuitive pieces to it. With those intuitive pieces, we get information which helps us to make the next decision we're going to make. Right? Like, if you intuit all of a sudden, and I don't know how much we have the biggest joke in our house. I will be sitting here on a Friday morning, and all of a sudden it will pop into my head, I think our gas tank is just about empty for the stove. And not 10 minutes later, I'll hear the gas truck coming down the street, and he'll honk his horn. He's got a very distinctive horn. And I'll laugh because I always know at least 24 hours in advance, and I'll go out and you lift up the gas tank, the propane tank, and go, oh, it's fucking empty. 3 or 4 Fridays can go by because it's always a Friday that's delivered, and doesn't even cross your mind. But the day it crosses your mind is the day you know intuitively that gas tank is already empty, and you need to go and swap out your tank and get a new tank. It's to the point of it's 99.9% accurate for myself. So when I have that random thought pop into my head, oh, I wonder if we're low on gas, I know the moment I think that, I know that it's low on gas. So just go grab the tank and go haul it to the front door. When we get the intuitive hits that come to us about things that are going on around us, and I'm talking again from the greater perspective. So it's like those of us who've had this real push to do prepping. It's not that we're creating the need to prep, the incident, the accident, the whatever you want to call it. But the intuition comes in a burst, and you're like, oh, snap. So like one of my favorite brands of rice is probably going on sale next week. And I was just joked to Nick and said, I buy the 8-kilo bags and they'll be in next week. And I'm like, oh, good, because I've only got 2 of those 8-kilo bags left. I've already used up my last bit of stash. Good, because I'll go buy 3 more when they come in. And I feel like that's an intuition that we pull out. We pull out of the ether, whatever. Like you get a gut feeling on something, which is why one of those things is like people talk about. You're driving home from work, and all of a sudden, instead of taking this route, you change your mind and suddenly take a different route home, and then find out when you get home there was a major accident on that other route. Because it kind of comes in as a burst, and you just follow your instincts. It's been happening to a lot of, Zero. It's been happening. Zero just said it's been happening to him. And a lot of people are talking about how these little flashes kind of come into us. We were talking about the financial stuff. Let me backtrack a little bit here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to be as succinct as I can, and I'm just meandering. But we see shit happening around us all the time. And like I said, on the greater scale. I'm not talking in our personal bubbles, our personal little realities, but on that kind of global stage reality. And sometimes the craziness is so intense that we're very separated out from it. Do you know what I mean? And especially us unfuckers, where you literally sit back and go, are you kidding me? I can't believe people are falling for this again. And you just go on with your life and you ignore it, while everyone else in social media seems to be like losing their fucking minds. We affect the shit that is in our personal reality. But I find it is sometimes a dangerous, pardon the word dangerous, or a not so good habit of that new age thinking of like where you pay your attention is where your attention goes. That's what you're going to create. So I wanted to talk about there's that difference between what we are creating in our own personal reality versus listening to the intuition that is coming in that is on this bigger, grander, global scale, holodeck, whatever you want to call it, reality. No, and that's what I'm saying, Joanna. This whole law of attraction has got a real nasty, negative spiral to it that is played out in that whole new age thinking of like law of attraction. Well, if you're going out with someone and they treat you like a pile of shit, well, it's your fault because law of attraction, you must have attracted that person into your life. That's fucking nasty fucking bullshit. And it's really, really insidious, I find, in a lot of the ways that somehow things are ideas are put forward. And that's why I wanted to kind of clarify that when I'm talking about this, the creative stuff that we are creating within our little bubbles, that we're not talking about on that greater scale. And because and the reason I'm bringing this up is because of two conversations I read today on social media, and not in the Unfuckers group. One, they were both on my wall with two different groups that I know. And in both of them, there were two different people, two completely different topics. There were a bunch of people trying to play that. Someone was bringing up a piece of information and saying, like, basically coming forward intuitively saying, I really don't like this certain situation. One was talking about a school situation. I don't like the situation that's going on in the school. I really, really think that we need to be really aware of this. And two other love and lighters came in and were like, oh, well, you know, you're going to say this, but you're going to attract it to yourself. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, that is sickening. It's gross. This first person obviously is intuiting, her gut is telling her, hey, there's a problem here and I need to be aware of it, and I should help other people be aware of what might be a problem. And that there's always this undercurrent of others that come along and try to play the blame game with it. Exactly, Zero. Exactly, right? So there's a lot of intuition flowing right now. And I guess that's what it's coming down to. For me, when I get those flashes, like we just talked about, when you just, it's like the whole idea appears solidly. There's something to that. So for example, just on my own, for my own personal thing, last year at the end of the summer, I was having a conversation with a friend of ours. And we were talking about all kinds of stuff. We were talking about Gozo here in Malta. We were talking about summer and tourism, etc., etc. And I literally, it came out of my mouth and I was like, yeah, but next year is going to be really, really fucking bad. And people need to be prepared for the fact that tourism is going to radically drop next year. And it came to me in a burst. It came to me literally in a burst. And it stuck with me. And sure enough, this summer, tourism radically dropped here. All my friends, all the people that I know that have shops or cafes, restaurants, B&Bs, are all literally in shock about how bad the tourist season was this year, how little money came in. A lot of people got in bad situations because of it. When you get those pieces that come in like I say, like a burst, and you know it, you feel it. Those are the things that I always try to get people to pay attention to, right? Don't brush it off because it doesn't fit with your plans, or it doesn't fit with a piece of rhetoric that's being shoved here and there. Be mindful of these like little seemingly bursts that come in. Same thing. I had a conversation with someone back in June, a good friend of mine, and we were talking about the financial world, the financial markets. And he was saying, oh, this and all that. And this is when all the Deutsche Bank stuff was really starting to blow up. And I said, no, don't worry about it. You're not going to see anything until the first week of October. And just same thing. That's just what came out. And I looked at it. Now, afterwards, all summer long, I've been like, okay, so first week of October. Okay. That's on my mental notebook. And everything that I'm seeing. So, for example, the Thomas Cook crash. I don't know if you guys paid attention to it. North America, Thomas Cook, I don't know, does Thomas Cook travel agency work in North America and Canada? I don't know if they do or not. But it is the world's oldest travel agency. 150 years they've been in business. And they went belly up this week, stranding over 600,000 people on vacation. Because it was just like they closed the doors halfway through a day. Everything shut down. All flights. People were kicked out of their hotels. This is huge. This is huge. And I said to everyone, I put it up on my wall on Facebook, and I was like, This is the warning shot. This is the warning shot that is coming in. When a company like Thomas Cook all of a sudden is just like done with this, the blink of an eye. That's what my gut's been telling me. We watched this first week of October. This first week, 2 weeks, I expect to see some major financial news, major financial crashes. So, as I said before we went live, I was joking, not really, not joking. Get your money out of the banks. And I was joking, saying, I said even a few months ago, I said, if anyone's got any accounts tied up in Deutsche Bank, get your money out. If you've got investments that are somehow tied into Deutsche Bank, which almost all of them are, like whether they're bonds or any kind of investment papers or groupings, they almost all are tied into Deutsche. Get your money out. Hold on, what's this? Okay, now, and that's interesting. Okay, green ozone, that is really, really interesting. If anyone saw the articles that came out about Google's new quantum computer that was leaked by NASA accidentally talked about Google's new quantum computer. And then Google wouldn't comment, and then the article disappeared, but because it had already been captured by so many people and put out there, there wasn't really anything they could do except to kind of go back and go, oh, yeah. Google has got a new quantum computer. Remember this, when they talk, and okay, they talk about quantum computers and how they work, there is a spin there of, especially in the mainstream articles, the big ones, of like, oh, will we have quantum computers on our desktops at any point time soon? No, they won't be, because they utilized this quantum computer, answered a question in 200 seconds, what it would have taken a major supercomputer 10,000 years to answer, to calculate. And it did it in 200 seconds. Because it was a very specific algorithmic problem it was asked. It's not reportedly super fast. It's not like you get a quantum computer and then go surf the internet and have really, really super fast downloads because, it solved that problem in 200 seconds. But there's a piece to that. Where again, we start talking about quantum computers. We haven't heard hardly anything about quantum computers in the last year and a half or so. And then all of a sudden this ping, here's a little piece. Let's toss this out. But not only toss it out, let's toss it out when everyone's really distracted. Computer stuff. Yeah, guys, I don't know what the fuck is going on with my computer. My stuff is freezing left, right, and center. Left, right, and center. Am I back? Okay, I'm back now. Oh yeah, I don't know what's going on with my Zoom. My Zoom is literally being crazy, and I've had multiple Zoom conversations this week. I've had multiple conference calls and never had a single blip until tonight. And the last time this happened was 2 weeks ago on Wednesday night when we were doing the show. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, no coincidence at all, Julianne. No, not coincidental at all. It never only happens on Wednesday night during the show. That's the only time it ever happens. Ha ha ha. So, no, it's not Blair's fault. Seriously. Don't tease Blair. That's not fair.
On my fucking phone, so like, yeah, it's all fucked up.
No, we're just talking about my internet glitching over here. Yeah, so like the quantum computers, and that's what I was just saying that since you guys missed the last few things I said, was the fact that we haven't heard about quantum computers in the last year and a half or so. And now all of a sudden this comes in, and like I said, this whole piece about this Google computer was like very conveniently dropped by NASA. And during a time when everyone's distracted. Everyone's just Area 51. We're going to raid Area 51 and all that. And then there was this Greta chick that is the puppet. All of that stuff, the United Nations stuff happening. We have all this kind of stuff. There's like major fucking distractions being pushed out at us right now. And Greta the Cabbage Patch Doll, Deb, you make me laugh. That's funny. Honestly, I think most of the distractions are to keep people from looking at the financial stuff right now. Because the financial stuff is huge. And I think that is going to be one of the major pieces.
Danny, can I say something?
Yeah, darling. Of course.
Great. I wanted to bring up a couple things from what you mentioned. Now, first off, the distraction. Now, of course, we know the weather's been kind of weird. And I want to point out something that's happened to me recently. Last year, this time, I had all my fall bulbs already planted. This year, I haven't even received my fall bulbs. And I contacted the company that I ordered them from, and they told me they're at least a week behind, and they just shipped out bulbs. So it's just an interesting, because where I'm outside of Calgary, so I'm already seeing the weather pattern, how much it shifted. We had a really early frost in August, and we haven't had
Holy shit.
We had a weird frost in August that almost took out my tomatoes, and I only knew because I went online just before bed at like 11 o'clock and covered everything. And then I saw this warning. So it's been very interesting. And when I brought up, because I was actually quite upset, and I was talking to the lady, and I'm like, well, what are you guys going to do? Like, if this is what's happening with the seasons and we get shorter, what's going to happen next year? And what's going to happen with the bulbs? What happens when that's 2 weeks late and our seasons have shortened, right? So that was just interesting. And, talking about just things that came out, that was like me confronting, we're going into this cooling. Like, I can see this happening. And I totally kind of freaked out on this poor customer service lady because I was all panicking about my bulb. But it's just this interesting thing on that. And then the whole thing with the time. So I posted in the Unfuckers group about me being home. I didn't end up planning anything because I was initially going to plan to have my girlfriends and stuff. And then I'm like, no, I have this list of stuff to do. I have been by myself, no kids, no husband, nothing for 5 days. I can't get anything done. Nothing at all. Like, I feel like today, this morning, I almost cried. I'm like, they're coming back. And I have my list isn't done. And I have no explanation as to why my list isn't done. So yeah, I feel it right there with everybody else. Yeah. It's weird.
Yep. I actually called tomorrow. I literally was looking around my house because we had the festival to go to over the weekend. So all last week was prep to get ready to go to the festival. So it was getting stock, product made, getting all the shit together that you need to take to the festival. I did a major baking day, which was another funny thing about how we talk about the whole thing with the disappearing cat food and stuff. Baking kind of went the opposite direction in our house. It was very strange. I literally this yesterday and today looked at my house and I was like, my house is so dirty. So dirty that yeah, guys, you can just have your cameras back on. Sorry, I had just asked everyone to turn off their cameras just while we're doing all the screen share. Now that we're back, we're just talking. You guys can all have your cameras on. I literally said yesterday, everyone, don't make plans for tomorrow. Don't make plans for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a cleaning day. And like I said, I was joking with Ann a couple of days ago, and I was saying I'm always talking about the fucking dust here. But the dust is beyond anything I've ever experienced before, and I'm used to living in Gozo. I'm used to the dust. It's the island's a solid block of limestone. It's dusty, but the dust is so bad, and it's kind of as if I can't clean it. It's like the thought of literally I have to literally strip everything down. Every shelf has to be emptied to wash it all down. And you have no time. And I've been saying for 2 weeks, I've got to get this done. And I can't get to it. Julianne, I can't get to it. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Even my own desk. I'm sitting here looking at the disaster that is my desk. There's just not enough time. There's not enough time in the day to just get the shit done that you're trying to get done.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been so frustrated. And at first I'm thinking it's my daughter, it's my husband. No, there's no time to do anything. I want to blame other people, but I can't do it, and there's nobody here to distract me. So I don't even know how that works.
And this is what I mean about time, et cetera, et cetera. Like it's, and you know it's not just an unfuckers thing. When you're going out and you're seeing memes, like I can't tell you how many memes I've seen in the last 2 months. They're all about time. About, oh, look at that, like it's Christmas is coming and Halloween and where did the summer go? The summer's already gone. And these aren't unfuckers. These aren't people who are having these conversations like we have almost every week. These are just average, everyday people doing their daily life, doing their jobs, going, what the fuck? Where did time go? Where's summer? Summer's over. We're already in autumn, like autumn, not just like a little bit of autumn. Like it's fucking October already almost.
Can I butt in here?
Yeah.
Okay, I was watching a few videos the other day, and one of them was about the Aztec calendar, and they were talking about, so now we're in the time that is no time. So in other words, the time speeds up and it slows down erratically, just like our Earth is traveling through space erratically, which would show up on your graph like a heartbeat. Okay? So what I was thinking, and yes, because of where we're at in this that time with no time, we're able to manifest things because we're not in time. So, and as for the dust, well, that's just because it's all blowing on us because we're sitting still half the time, and the other time we're just buzzing away. So yeah, and so nothing is linear.
I'd like to manifest some more time, please. It's like, Alex, can I buy, can I buy some time off you over there? Someone, anyone?
Hey, Danny, have you seen the meme? Have you seen the meme about Walmart having, they want, the person posted, Walmart wants us in our Halloween costume, buying Thanksgiving and Christmas, something like that. It's funny. I can't remember it word for word, but, and, we have noticed every year the holidays seem to bunch together quicker. And I'm just, when you were talking about memes, it kind of made me wonder if the big people at Walmart are feeling it too, and literally they're not on purpose. Hard to articulate. Not on purpose putting the stuff, but it's like,
if
oh my God,
sudden they're getting their memos. Like it's like people are calling head office and going, "Why aren't the Thanksgiving decorations out? I need to buy Thanksgiving napkins." And they go, "Oh, okay, fuck, we've got 15 calls this week about Thanksgiving. I guess we better get that shit out."
Yeah, they might be feeling that bunch, and then they're like, "Here, okay, there you go, guys."
Okay, so green ozone, back to money. Nobody's spending. And that goes back to what I was talking about, the financial stuff. The one thing everyone I've spoken to, not just here, because obviously my experience is with the local businesses here, at the festivals. We've done 2 major festivals this summer. Every single one of the vendors is like, no one's spending. No one's spending any money. And my response has always been, that's because no one has any money. No one has any money. I've met several people when we were at Earth Garden in June. I met several people who said, The only reason we're here right now is because we happened to buy our tickets in January when they went on sale. And and like they had packed lunch. Like literally 2 different families I'd met who had packed their lunches to go with them because they literally had no money. But because they'd already bought the tickets months in advance, they decided to go anyway. But it's the same thing that I'm talking to people across the board, like friends of mine in England, friends of mine in Australia, anyone who runs retail businesses, etc., are talking about the fact that there's no one's spending money. Someone here and a friend of mine posted in England said she used to always buy her kids school uniforms secondhand. Always. She had the same shop she'd always go to. She'd always buy her kids school uniforms secondhand because she used to say, like, why the hell am I going to spend hundreds on new when they're going to grow out of them in 6 months? It doesn't make logical sense. She went into the shop, sold out. All the secondhand school uniforms, completely sold out. She says, the shopkeeper said, I've never seen this happen before. She says, not only were they sold out, they were sold out like 3 weeks before school started. It was the same thing here. There's one little shop here in Gozo that sells a lot of the secondhand school uniforms. Sold out. Hold on, sir. From Twitch. Well, so is something hitting right now? Everyone I told I was sick told me to look for Danny, and here she is. You're going to have to go back and listen to the very beginning of the first recording of the first hour. Yes, there's major geomagnetic fuckery going on right now. Like, serious major geomagnetic fuckery going on right now. Unlike anything we've ever seen before. And a lot of people are feeling sick. A lot of people are feeling woozy, dizzy, mind blanking. Like literally having those glitch out moments where you just can't get your thoughts together, and it's incredibly difficult to articulate what the hell you do. My eldest son forgot that he was having all 4 wisdom teeth pulled out yesterday until the morning of. Like, how do you forget that you're getting your wisdom teeth pulled out? Not only did he forget about the appointment, he had literally forgotten that he was getting his wisdom teeth pulled out until he got a call from that morning from the dentist going, reminder, your appointment's at 4 o'clock to get your wisdom teeth pulled. And he was like, what? And I wanted to say to him, maybe that was an appointment you made on another timeline. It just happened to fall into place here on you. I don't know. Because, yeah,
Hey,
Joanna, off balance like you're on a boat. Yeah.
So all that craziness that you were showing, would that line up with my Monday? Because I got knocked down to shit on Monday. I couldn't even get up.
Yeah, that's Monday. But Monday was also, like, we were talking, like, it was going into the equinox. And then you have the equinox, and then you have all this craziness kind of going.
Yeah, I was not good that day.
No, Anne and I, same thing. And I literally spent most of the day literally sitting on my ass doing nothing because I could barely. At one point, I'm doing this, scrolling through Facebook, and then you realize you're not even reading. You're just sitting there doing this with the wheel on your mouse, and you're not paying any attention. That's how zoned out I was. That's crazy. And yeah, but this is exactly it. Penny, exactly. Since May, June, it has been an overwhelming amount of this, which is why I've been so heavily questioning, like, has something besides where we discussed, we're crossing the galactic plane, etc., besides that kind of aspect, I keep questioning, has something been done on that quantum computer level, on this, have they pulled out some of these old project stuff, which is why we were going through and looking at, like, Project Looking Glass, the Yellow Cube, etc., like a few weeks back, because the shit has gotten so weird now that it feels, I don't want to say unnatural because that's not necessarily the word. It feels unnatural. It feels like something is
anomalous.
like say, like flickering, like it's boom, boom, like you're being tossed, boom.
How about
Go ahead,
like
Cyril.
it feels like digital? Because this is pretty much what digital feels like. It
And you know
doesn't
what?
flow like analog.
And JC, you could be dead on the money with that, because that is interesting. The digital is the on and the off. It's not the flow of analog. Analog is like this, and digital is like this. Is that it? Is that a piece to this? I don't know, but it feels not organic. Is that a good word to use? It doesn't feel like organic stuff that's shifting and flowing. Even if, I'm going back to the whole thing about crossing the galactic plane, even if this is where we are and this is what we're doing, that kind of stuff doesn't turn on and turn off. Do you know what I mean? Like there would be a gradual build up as you're entering into the galactic plane, but there's so much that we're experiencing that is literally, it's like it's on or it's off. Nels Booking out on Twitch, yeah, exactly. The world feels super fake right now. It does. It feels completely fake, and it's like we know about fake news, like we joke about the fake news, but there's an aspect to it right now that is so fake that it's like you find it literally, from your entire being is pulling away from it.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, Maury?
It's bizarre, Danny. I mean, it's beyond fake. Okay,
Yeah.
it's beyond reality. Okay, the reactions from people and the confusion, the everything. It is beyond reality.
I hear ya.
That whole feeling has been growing and growing, and I swear to God, like the other day, I was just driving through my small town, kind of feeling like, I swear to God, I'm just on a big movie set. Like this all, I'm just like, that's what this feels like.
Where's the fucking hidden cameras? Who's spying on me?
Go
ahead, Maury.
What's happening is we not everybody, but we are, and people like us are seeing through the illusion that we took for real. We just like JC just got said. It said, it looks unreal anymore. It looks fake. We see it every which way we look. It's not but years ago, and not so many years ago, we thought that was all there was, and now we're looking, and it was real, and there was no other reality but that. Now granted, we don't know what the real is, but we know the one we've taken for real for all of our lives. There's glitches in it that don't add up, and that's what we're seeing. And the way I phrase that is, we're seeing through the illusion. Have we got 20/20 clear vision yet? No, but we have a hell of a lot. We have enough vision in our, and all this intuition thing you were talking about is a signal. It's something to be noticed and paid attention to as a sign of this, really, that we're looking at the external world. We say, this ain't real anymore. Yep. It used to be real. It used to be our whole reality. You know that, and so do I.
Yep.
So anyway, that's my word on it. We're seeing through the illusion, so it's a positive thing. Do we have the ultimate answer? No, because we're still in it. But we're working our way, and accept that and use and take it as progress. In other words, I'm trying to turn this into a positive, not a woe is us and we're fucked all the time.
Yeah. But here's the thing, Gypsy made a really good comment just here. So the world has been blown up, so to speak, that the least of us will get the message. And this is what I keep saying, is we've been demanding transparency. We want since like 2012. That's been like my byline. Give me transparency. I want to know. Show us the transparency. And that's what it feels like right now. Is like we got so much fucking transparency now, we may go crazy from the fucking transparency. But it's being shown to us. But it feels how do I say this? It feels as if it is being blarg. Fucking English sucks. Shown to us artificially. Does that make sense? No. Kind of like what Maury's saying. There's the organic, if you will, of what we know, what we feel, what is real. But it's as if the inorganic, the illusion, the matrix, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it, has gone out to be so fucking crazy that you can see it for the asinineness that it is.
Yeah, like, and to speak in analogy, you know what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me like I'm in some game and like there's a pre-program to do something, like in Sims, like you really expect me to go out and get a Sims job and develop all that thing when I know what this all it like it just seems like that hardwired or implanted, I don't know what it is, programming is like just wearing off. It's just like, you really expect me to do this? Like it's just like a computer Sims job. It's meaningless in so many, like, you know, or like you expect me to just like be in some game world and be like an NPC just walking around, like,
and it's no good anymore. Like, and it's like, can we say like 20 years ago maybe we could have played that game. I did. I had like a completely mainstream job as an executive assistant, and you worked in an office and you typed on the computer and you took calls and you booked appointments and you did all the thought of going back to that is just like
what's funny is it kind of reminds me of the same like the same energy behind like, God, I wish I was 15 again and really enjoyed all the games I did. You know, it's like you just can't quite get into it, you know?
Jane just said, is anyone else noticing vision issues? Seems like it's getting worse day by day. I am half blind. I am half blind. And it's gotten so bad in the last year alone. It has gotten so bad. I mean, like, I have to use my reading glasses. I don't need them for the computer, but that's because I have my screen really blown up. But I literally, in my bed with my tablet, I was reading a book. And you're holding, so it's my phone here, but you're holding your tablet, which is, you know, bigger than my phone. And literally without my glasses, and I'm doing this and going farther and farther back. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, just a year ago, not even a year ago, I was reading, I was holding my tablet, and I could still read it. But it was getting to the point where your eyes got really tired fast. So I was like, well, I better start using my reading glasses when I'm using my tablet. Yeah, and Deb, I've got screens on mine. Like, my kids always come and go, why does your screen look yellow? Like, because it's after dark now. Because I've got a program that I put on my screen to actually get rid of the excess blue light, etc. And it has made a difference. And my eyes don't get anywhere near as tired at night when I'm looking at stuff. But my eyes are literally, and it's interesting. I don't know how many of you will remember this. Back when I was in Australia in 2016, and I talked about it on several shows back then, that every time I walked into a government office building, my eyes would shut off. I shut off to the point where I would literally, like, whoever I was with would end up holding their arm because my vision would get so bad the moment I'd walk into the building. And the moment I walk out of the building, you get 20 foot away from the building, they'd be right back to normal. I had an episode of that, I think it was last week. And Anne's not here because I called Anne going, what? I literally was just out walking. And all of a sudden, my vision it was like someone just turned it off. And it went so bad that I was holding Nick's arm, and it was unbelievable. And I said, what the hell is going on? And it took about 15, 20 minutes. And over time, I got out of wherever it was. I can't even remember where we were. Got out of that place and we're walking away. And by the time I got home, my vision was back again. But my vision went completely as if someone just turned off my vision and just dialed it right down. And I've talked to a few people who are having these kind of issues. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on with my eyes? But again, if we're looking through the veil, if we're looking through this stuff,
Yeah.
is that part of the vision issues? As in, when you're in heavily into the matrix, i.e. walking into a government building, is that thing where your eyes just sitting there going like, I can't see this fucking matrix shit anymore. I just can't look at it. It's just so much that I just can't deal with it.
In July and August, my eyesight went really bad, guys. Seriously. And peripheral vision, that inward focusing, where you're losing your peripheral, right? And that really bothered me. I just kind of calmed myself down and said, because it seemed almost every day it was getting worse. And I just calmed myself down and I said, you know what? Something's going on right now. It's creating this. Just wait. And sure enough, but I went through it for about a month. So just wait, guys. It'll come back. Don't worry about a new pair of glasses, because unless you got the glasses when you were within this whatever is happening, because it will clear up. And now my eyesight is actually better than it has been in years.
And I've had a few people who've said that. It hasn't happened for me yet, JC. I really hope that it does go that way. News booking, I did the exact same thing 2 years ago. I went and got a new pair of glasses, and within a year, they were crap. I paid like fucking 150 euros for a pair of glasses, and I think I wore them 6 times.
Another thing that seems to be epidemic these days is fucking dehydration. What is up with that?
Yeah. Okay, so if we look at, and this goes into, we don't have a Ben here with us tonight. Ben was talking about magnetic and electrical polarities, and water is conductive, and water is one of those things that is the most mesmerizing substance in the universe. In my opinion, water is the most amazing substance in the universe.
That we're all made of.
That we're all made of, and everything, right? Plants, trees. If we're going through all this energetic stuff, all these cosmic rays that are going through, all of these changes of massive energy, it could literally be like the water in our body is no longer adjusted or is being affected by these different polarities, whether they're talking magnetic or electrical polarities. Because yeah, literally, doesn't matter how much water I drink, I am always fucking dehydrated. Always. Doesn't matter. I'm always thirsty. I'm trying to catch up with you guys. Everyone was like, and listen, like, this is the whole thing. I keep seeing, like, the whole thing, the Christmas thing. I told you guys about that a few weeks ago, the Christmas thing coming up. And I literally was walking home last week. I sent Ann and Gail and Fred a message saying I was walking home. Jenny, is Jenny here still? I think Jenny's gone. Literally walking home from having a coffee with Jenny. And I realized in my head I had Deck the Halls playing in my head. No reason, trust me, there's no one playing Christmas music here. There was zero, no trigger whatsoever. So that Christmas thing keeps coming up. So again, I keep sitting there going, what is there something coming up at around the Christmas time that is relevant? Julianne just said, I've had Christmas music in my head for the last 3 days. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, Sony just said, I had Last Christmas in her head. Oh my God. So I've had a few people talking about this and mentioning it. I'm like, there is no rhyme or reason to all of a sudden have a Christmas song stuck in your head.
I got
Leonida, you had Deck the Halls as well in your head? So did I. That was whatever day it was that Jen and I went for coffee. So it was that last Monday or Tuesday, I think it was.
This was happening in 2016 as well. Yeah, people having Christmas and just bizarre songs just popping into their head. So are we going into a loop? It doesn't feel like it, but if past and present are both now non-conforming, who knows?
Hey, Danny, here's an angle you might want to pursue with the astrologer ladies. I'm led to believe that this winter solstice is pretty significant in terms of alignments. Now, they're the experts, I'm not, but I've heard enough around it that say, wait a minute, this is unusual. And if you believe what they say, like once in 500 years or once in 1,000 years, and maybe even bigger than that, I thought I heard Jules say. But the point I'm trying to get at is, when is the winter solstice? It's like December 21st, ain't it?
21st.
Yeah.
Mercedes, hold on, because Mercedes here. Mercedes, when is the big eclipse? Is that January 6th? January 20th?
Conjunction. It's a conjunction.
Is that it? When is that?
The first week of January.
It is the first week of January. Yeah.
The exact date.
That's fair too. But there's something going on with that December 21st as well. But I'm aware of the January that you're talking about, both of you. But yes, and I think that's even bigger. But there's something with the January 21st. Well, Christmas is December 21st. Christmas is December 25th. They're pretty freaking close, right? So no wonder.
Here's the thing.
Okay, go ahead.
When we talk about December 21st, and every year since 2015, I watch really closely that time between the 21st of December to around the 5th to the 10th of January. Because that is the time of, and again, it goes into when you start studying old mythology, when you start the old stories, is the god of Janus, the Roman god Janus, who has no other, in all the other pantheons, there's no other comparable god in, for example, the Greek, etc. Janus stands by himself. And his time is between winter solstice and that first week of January. And it depends. The date fluctuates in January. Some days it's January 3rd to 10th in there. And every time I've gone researching, and I've done the research now, I don't know how many times, over and over again, because he was the god of portals and doorways and bridges.
Well, on that one, go ahead. On that one,
hold on, Maury, just one last thing, okay?
I will.
And when he didn't have his own temples in Rome, the god Janus never had his own temples, because the only way to get to any of the other gods was through Janus. His prayers to him opened every prayer, whether they were praying to fucking name a god. They started with a prayer to Janus first, to open the portal, to open the doorway, to guide them to talk to the other gods. But his time was that portal time between the 21st of December to the first week of January.
Generally, I'm led to believe the Jewish have their Christmas is over a period of about that very same period, and they're in a more
Their
ancient,
Hanukkah.
yeah, whatever they call it. I'm not Jewish, but I remember hearing about that. They're dealing, and people know that in here. Their whole Christmas or holiday season is an extended period, and it probably does start around the 21st, which is solstice.
Well, it depends, right? Because they go on a lunar calendar. All of the Jewish holidays fall out through the Nisan calendar. So like the Hebrew calendar that goes by the moon, not by it. So it doesn't go by months, which is why all these different things fall on different dates. They never fall on the same date every year. So I don't know. I have no idea when's Hanukkah.
Well, I can tell you for sure in at least whole Catholic Christianity,
yeah,
they're granted everybody celebrates Christmas and think that's it, but within the actual tradition of Catholicism, that following week is special. Now, I used to know this stuff, but it's been so long, really long time. But that's also within the inner traditions of Catholicism, which is Christianity, as far as the world is concerned. That's a very significant time frame. They have a name for it, but I can't even remember it. But that's another tradition.
It's the Holy Week.
You're talking about Janus, but I just named two other more modern religions that people nowadays know about. They know about Judaism, they know about Catholic Christianity in the early stages for sure, because that's the way history works. So,
and I just looked it up. Hanukkah this year is between December 22nd and January 3rd.
There you go.
So,
and yeah, that's the thing about Janus. Yes, exactly. Janus had two faces. He looked forward in time, he looked backward in time at the same time. Interesting shit, folks.
Yeah.
Interesting shit. Very, very interesting shit.
I think it might.
I don't know.
It might be bigger than the politics that we see displayed in on the televisions. It might even be bigger than the financial crisis. That I agree with you, Danny. October surprises are well known as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be interesting to watch how this October. It's going to be interesting to watch how the next 3 months plays out.
Absolutely.
I think we're going to see some real crazy shit. I've got the Canadian elections coming up next month on the 15th. I can't even believe, because even my Canadian friends are like, they've hardly done any. I mean, Canada's not like the States. The political parties don't start 2 years in advance of doing all their voting shit. But it's been absolutely quiet, really, for the most part.
Well, Castro Jr.'s been having troubles, that's for sure.
Oh, don't even get me started.
I have a way. I don't have to say much, but I can get you. Damn, you're frozen again. Damn, she's frozen again. She'll be back.
Can you come off the live feed? John, I don't know if you just heard what I was saying. If you get me the recording of the show off the live feed, because I have a feeling my recording is going to be just fucked again. I got to figure out what the hell's going on with my Zoom. My Zoom is an epic disaster. Well, that's it for everyone tonight. That's it. We're going to say goodbye to the live stream. Goodbye, Twitchland. Sunday night is Fringe. We'll be back next Wednesday for the UnFuckIt discussion. And I will sit down with our astrology ladies and see if we can't figure out the time when we can do the next show. My festival season is now over, so I shouldn't have quite the insanity, hopefully. But we will definitely get that scheduled in. I will remember. I promise I will remember. So yeah, we'll say goodbye to everyone out there on Twitch, and I'll talk to everyone later. Bye.